Right over here. We do. We have a mini train. Historically, there was a train on the property. When we first came, there was no track. All we had were the plans of where it used to be. So we built this. As old as it looks, it just shows you that Mother Nature will take everything back. This is probably only a dozen years old. We're fixing some of the curves. We just got a new train last year during COVID. So it still isn't something we ride, but once we fix the track again, we'll run the train for kids and adults on weekends.
Great. And
so very cool.
What about this structure right here? Like, how am I interested?
This is disc golf. And disc golf is, literally known around the world. There are professionals, rankings, and everything. Something I didn't know anything about. So about 10 years ago, a guy came to me as we were opening up the park, and he said, "Let us put in a golf system." I said, "Fine." We put in 9 holes. At the time, I didn't know anything about it and didn't realize that every other day people are visiting the beach playing disc golf.
Wow.
Either in the mornings or late afternoons. I had no idea that it would get that kind of use, but it's great. It's a lot of fun to play.
Alright guys, so we ran into Charlie, as you can see, there's crocodiles in the area. Crikey, mate, it's crocodiles in the area. And if you look over there, you'll see Charlie, the crocodile. So what we have here is an example of the natural species, the cocoa plum. It is actually edible. Kind of tastes like a watered down lychee. Very good. What do you think? Good?
Too bad.
Delicious?
Mine's not watery. Mine's pretty good.
Nutritious?
I don't know
Feels
about the
nutritious.
nutrition, but
Usually this stuff is really nutritious.
Right Australian pine. And this again, I mean, you can see where the water comes. Okay? That's where yeah, when it gets heavy, storm, whatnot, it just keeps going back. Yeah. Just keeps taking it out.
And there's an example of an Australian pine, which is an invasive.
So this whole shoreline was Australian pines, like what you see in the background.
Right.
Those giant tall ones. We literally had to. It was a fun time using chainsaws ourselves when no one was here. Park was closed. And later, you know, they cut them down and they bring out little robots that are stump grinders. They sit on top of the stumps and grind them down. You know, fun job.
Complete eradication.
I know, fun job.
So, guys, obviously the Ultra Music Festival is happening this weekend. In the past, it was actually here on Virginia Key. Tell me a little bit about how maybe that might have negatively or positively impacted the park, and maybe it's things like pollution. So I can imagine it was a lot more pollution and stuff like that with all the people there.
That was a unique time. It did come to this park for 1 year, just before COVID. And what was strange about it, we were a section, it was in two parts. The main stage was at the Marine Stadium area. We held a different smaller side of it, and when I say smaller, 20,000 people a day, compared to the full 60,000 that come to it. But what was unique is that Ultra was, you know, frankly, so well funded, so over the top staffed. With their leave no trace policies, they had the resources to actually make it happen. I was very worried that we would have people wandering into sensitive areas and destroying plants that we've nurtured for a dozen years. They had the ability to fence everything off.
Okay.
Shoreline also, so there weren't stragglers hitting into partygoers walking into the ocean. All contained. So strangely, as being the biggest event we ever had, you know, per number of people per day, they were able to clean it up overnight so that
Wow.
the place looked spotless for the next day's events.
Wow.
So that rarely ever happens.
Yeah, no.
What it did do was put a heavy footprint on our back lawn. They built a huge main stage activation section in back. It was almost like an aircraft, really hot air balloon hangar. It
Right.
was enormous, took the entire 5-acre back lawn. And so that, of course, grass destroyed. They came out and paid for fertilizers, grass where they needed to, repair of our main parking lot, certain areas that needed to be re-asphalted. And so it came off really one of the cleanest
Wow.
events, especially in its size. The noise, yes, not something that you want to have happen in sensitive areas.
Right.
The city monitored them with sound meters and all of that. So they had a lot of hoops they had to jump through, and basically jumped through them all. It was pretty successful.
That's great. I mean, normally with something in an event like that, you would assume the worst, obviously.
We
When I
were
think about
preparing
it,
for it.
right, I feel like it would have been kind of detrimental to the park, but it actually sounds like Ultra did right by the park and really was a step ahead.
They did as much for the situation they were given, which was to come out to an island and put on an event they'd done for over 20 years at one location. But they bounced back nicely. We recovered well, and it did add to the revenues of the park so that we could do other things.
Excellent. Well, Guy, thank you so much for taking your time today.
Thank
Really
you,
appreciate
Dio.
it. Have a good one.
No,
Take care.
my pleasure.
Thank you.